The movie opens by introducing James Harper, a dedicated soldier from the military's elite special forces. At home, James enjoys a quiet, loving life with his wife Brienne and their 8-year-old son, whom he cherishes deeply. Yet life hasn't been easy. James is still recovering from a serious knee injury he suffered while deployed in Afghanistan. One day, James is summoned by military officials, but instead of receiving new orders, he's blindsided with unexpected news. He's being honorably discharged on medical grounds. To make matters worse, he's told there'll be no severance pay, as his medical expenses have depleted his benefits. Though heartbroken, James has no choice but to accept. Returning home, James breaks the difficult news to Brienne. With little savings left and mounting bills, he's uncertain how he'll provide for his family. Sensing his inner struggle, Brienne offers words of comfort, assuring him they'll face whatever comes their way, together. Later that evening, while James is tending to repairs on the roof, Brienne delivers more devastating news. His closest friend and fellow soldier Mason had passed away under tragic circumstances. Mason, like James, had been discharged sometime earlier and struggled to adjust to civilian life. The loss weighs heavily on both of them. Fearing for James's well-being, Brienne gently voices her concerns, but James promises he'll never leave his family, especially now. The next day, James attends Mason's funeral. There, he reconnects with Mike, his former superior officer. Like James, Mike had been forced to leave military service, but had since built a new life. The two catch up, and later, Mike invites James over for dinner. That evening, over food and a football game, the two men reminisce about the old days and discuss their present situations. During the conversation, Mike reveals he now works for a private security firm, a job that pays well and offers a degree of freedom. Hearing this, James, eager for a fresh start, asks if there might be room for him. The following day, Mike introduces James to Rusty, the head of the organization. A former soldier himself, Rusty explains the nature of their operations, high-risk assignments that require discretion with the reassurance of government connections behind them. With limited options and his family's future on the line, James agrees to join. After finalizing his paperwork, Rusty briefs James on his first assignment, a surveillance mission in Berlin expected to last a few weeks. Later that evening, James informs Brienne about his new job. Though the work would require traveling abroad, he assures her it's temporary and well-paying. Despite her concerns, Brienne reluctantly supports his decision. The next morning, James boards a flight to Berlin. Upon arrival, a hotel room awaits him, arranged by Mike. Soon after settling in, a woman named Katya arrives, introducing herself as one of Rusty's operatives. Without delay, she briefs James on his mission, to track the movements of a scientist named Salim, suspected of collaborating with dangerous factions in the development of illegal bioagents. That night, equipped with surveillance gear, James begins his assignment. For several days, he closely monitors Salim's activities, both at home and inside his laboratory. He carefully documents everything, building a detailed report of the scientist's routines, contacts, and research patterns. Eventually, Katya sends word for James to return to their base of operations. There, he reunites with Mike, Katya, and another operative, Bobby. During a tense briefing, Mike shares an alarming discovery. Salim is believed to be finalizing a highly dangerous bioagent intended for sale to extremist groups. Their new mission is clear: infiltrate Salim's lab, secure the research data, and prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. The mission wouldn't be easy. The lab's security systems were directly linked to the local authorities, and if anything went wrong, their only escape would be through the nearby forest and into the river tunnels. That night, the team prepares their equipment and finalizes the plan. Moving under cover of darkness, they quietly disarm the guards and infiltrate the laboratory. Room by room, they sweep the building until finally coming face to face with Salim. Mike immediately instructs Bobby to start transferring the research files while assigning James the difficult task of ensuring Salim could no longer continue his work. Salim, desperate to save his life, pleaded with James, claiming his research was intended to save millions, not harm them. He begged James to secure a backup of his data stored in a bank vault, accessible only by his wife. But James, distrustful and committed to the mission, ignored his pleas and administered a lethal chemical injection. Once Salim was dead, the team set the lab ablaze, staging it as an accidental fire to cover their tracks. But just as they were making their escape, two police cars appeared, triggering a fierce gunfight. In the chaos, Katia and Bobby were killed, and Mike took a bullet to the leg. With the situation deteriorating, James hauled the injured Mike into the forest, making their way toward the river tunnels. After diving to a safe location, James tended to Mike's wound, performing an urgent blood transfusion to stabilize him. Once Mike regained strength, they planned to return to base. But James's old knee injury suddenly flared up, leaving him unable to continue. Knowing the mission's success depended on it, James urged Mike to go on ahead and deliver the data to Rusty. Before parting, Mike instructed James to head to a hotel called Salvina and wait there for his return. Several hours later, once the pain subsided, James made his way to the Salvina Hotel, following Mike's last instructions, determined to see the mission through to the end. In a dim hotel room, James came across a passport left by Mike, along with a message stating he'd arrive in 6 hours. But as the hours stretched into the night with no sign of Mike, an uneasy feeling settled over James. Sensing something was wrong, he made the decision to leave the hotel. James quickly contacted Rusty, hoping for answers. Over the call, Rusty revealed grim news. Their mission had been compromised, and the police were now on the hunt for them. He claimed Mike never made it back to deliver the research data and was likely killed along the way. Rusty then urged James to share his location so he could dispatch a team to extract him. But when James caught sight of the men sent by Rusty, his instincts screamed danger. A chilling hunch told him Rusty might be the one behind Mike's disappearance. Trusting his gut, James slipped away, and not long after, Rusty, enraged by James's evasion, ordered his men to hunt him down. A violent chase broke out through dark alleyways and underpasses. James managed to outmaneuver his pursuers, taking down 2 of Rusty's men. Before the second man died, James pressed him for answers and confirmed his worst suspicion. Rusty had sent them to kill him. Thinking fast, James grabbed the fallen man's phone and sent Rusty a message, leading him to believe James had been eliminated. Exhausted, James found refuge in an abandoned underground station where he pieced together his next move. It was there that Salim's words echoed in his mind. A copy of the research data had been hidden away in a bank vault. At dawn, James made his way to Salim's home, confronting Salim's wife and demanding she retrieve the data. Though she initially refused, a threat to her son's life forced her compliance. Together, they went to the bank, secured the vault, and recovered the data. Once in possession of it, James uncovered shocking revelations. Salim, far from being a conspirator, had been developing a vaccine to combat a deadly global virus, intending to distribute it freely to those in need. But powerful, greedy forces sought to seize the formula for their own gain. Realizing the depth of the conspiracy, James resolved to return to America using the passport Mike had prepared. Upon arriving, he headed straight to Mike's home to deliver the devastating news of his supposed death, only to find Mike alive. Confusion turned to suspicion, and James wondered if Mike had conspired with Rusty against him. The next morning, James discreetly tailed Mike, seeking to uncover his true intentions. But Mike, aware of being followed, quickly ambushed his stalkers. When he discovered James alive, he was stunned, having believed, based on Rusty's report, that James had perished. Mike explained that he never meant to betray James. His absence at the hotel was due to Rusty's deception, not treachery. Rusty, it seemed, had been playing them both. Though furious, James withheld his vengeance. Mike warned him, if Rusty discovered he was still alive, his family would be in grave danger. With no other option, James vowed to take down Rusty and his entire operation. Racked with guilt, Mike offered to help. That evening, the plan was set. Mike would approach Rusty as a distraction, while James infiltrated from the back. Gunfire erupted as the two took out Rusty's guards one by one. In the chaos, a brutal shootout left both Mike and Rusty fatally wounded. James approached the dying Rusty and, without a word, struck him one final time. Though mortally injured, James attempted to rush Mike to the hospital, but his friend succumbed to his wounds en route. The following morning, James burned Mike's body along with his car, erasing any trace of the events. At last, James returned home, reuniting with his wife and son. Determined to protect them from the darkness he'd escaped, James made a life-changing decision: to leave America behind and start anew in a distant land. The end. Morale: betrayal is a knife in the back of those who once fought beside you, and loyalty, once broken, can only be avenged.